Well, there you go. We're playing Dark Souls 2 now. So, I couldn't think of anything else to play, and that's why we're here, honestly. Now, before we get started, I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm not going to do like a walkthrough for this like I did with Dark Souls Remastered. That being said, though, I have a lot of experience with Dark Souls 2 as well. Not so much 3, haven't played that as much. Didn't like it as much as the other two, but 1 and 2 I've played a ton, so you know, I know what I'm doing. So if you've never played this and you don't want to look up another walkthrough for whatever reason, you can of course just follow along with what I'm doing and get a general idea of what you're supposed to be doing in this game. I'll probably end up kind of commentating what I do as I go, just because at this point I'm used to commentating and saying what I'm doing and why I'm doing it when I play Dark Souls. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but I am going to go for a faith strength build here, I think. I'm gonna pick the knight instead of the cleric. Even though the cleric starts with a chime and 12 faith, the knight starts with 6 faith, which isn't too bad. He also has 6 endurance, which the cleric only has 3, and the cleric also only has 4 adaptability, whereas the knight has 9. Honestly, adaptability is pretty much my number one reason for picking a class at the beginning, because having no adaptability sucks. Let's see, let's go for a bonfire aesthetic. And honestly, I'm just gonna kind of fly through this and then skip to the end. Alright, that seems about right. So, anyways, as I was saying, basically just gonna kind of play through this like a let's play style. Just have some fun with it. The reason I did walkthroughs for Dark Souls Remastered is because I knew that with the release of that, there would be lots of new players. And, well, at least I was hoping so, and it seemed like that was the case, because I personally knew a lot of people who had played Dark Souls 2 first, or had played Dark Souls 3 first, and I figured, you know, most of them, pretty much all of them, enjoyed it, so I figured that they'd probably want to try out Dark Souls 1 in the form of the remastered version. So that's why I went ahead and did those walkthroughs. Nice. So, funny story, not funny to me, but you might enjoy it. Last night, I actually started this playthrough, played about 4 hours worth, and then started storming outside literally as I was doing the outro for like what would be the 4th episode. I was greeted with a black screen and a dark room. The storm knocked out my power and I lost all of it. So I was debating whether or not I was even gonna start this again today, but I decided I might as well. Fresh and early in the morning, nothing bad has happened to me yet today, so I'm in a decent mood. But you never know, you know, like if I had waited till like 4 p.m. to start this, by that point, you know, the day's already in motion. I could be having a bad day and I won't want to do this again. But right now, everything is fine. So, what I just did there, by the way, is kill that hippopotamus man for the stone ring. Stone ring makes you do more poise damage to people, basically makes it easier to stagger, and it's kind of nice. Honestly, in the first few areas when you're just fighting regular hollows, doesn't make too much of a difference, but since I'm going to be using this, it's the broadsword, right? Yeah. Since I'm going to be using this for a little bit, I figured it probably wouldn't hurt. Now, poison in this game isn't nearly as important as in Dark Souls 1. Honestly, it's pretty much non-existent, but it is nice to be able to stagger people. And when I say it's non-existent, it's more to do with like players. Enemies still have poise, Some of them are easier to stagger than others, obviously. But it's not like you can do what you did in Dark Souls 1, throw on full Havels and just literally not be phased by getting hit in the face with a giant hammer, you know? So, since we're going for a faith build, grabbing the cleric's sacred chime right there, that's why I wasn't too bothered about not picking the cleric, because you can literally get the cleric's sacred chime as like your first weapon, so, or first item you see, honestly. Now then. Oh, I forgot to mention too, so adaptability, the reason I was kind of fussy over that was that you can see down there in the left hand column, adaptability ADP is at 9, and in the third column, second from the bottom right above poise, agility AGL is at 87. Basically, agility is going to determine how many iframes you have when you roll, iframes being the number of like in-game actual frames, as in like frames per second, that you are invincible. So if you time your rolls correctly, it's a lot easier to do in Dark Souls 1 because you have lots of iframes in that game. You can like roll straight through a swing from an enemy. That's why you're able to do that. Now in this game, it's a terrible system. I'm just gonna say that right now. Adaptability is a stat that you can level up, and the higher you get it, the higher your agility goes, and the more iframes you have. So if you have like max adaptability, you're gonna have a really long window that you can actually like successfully dodge people, and that's very helpful. And honestly, I would say that the early game of Dark Souls 2 is one of the hardest. Oh, whoops! I forgot to give you something. One of the hardest of any games, just because your adaptability starts just ridiculously low on pretty much every class, which means even if like in theory you're timing your rolls correctly, you're probably still gonna get hit because it's just a dumb system. So I'm gonna carry on this way. For this first episode, I'm just going to clear the Forest of Fallen Giants, and the next one I'm gonna do the 2 bosses in the area. That's what I did when I tried this last night, and it worked out pretty well. So, moving on down here, there's lots of just stuff to get in this area. A lot, actually. Fun fact, last night I saw a summon sign right here at the end of the bridge, was messing around with it, wasn't paying attention, and fell into the water right here and died. Pro player. I also die a lot on that jump right there because I like to play this game after I play Dark Souls 1 a lot, and in this game and in Dark Souls 3, I think you can actually change it, but by default the jump is set to left stick after you've been sprinting, whereas in Dark Souls 1, of course, it's you just press B or your sprint button, dodge button again after you have been sprinting, so that gets me killed quite often. As you can see though, these guys are pretty easy to stagger, and I'd be doing that without the stone ring, so. Kind of a nasty ambush up ahead. Don't know why I didn't swing twice. I never get that bonfire, for the record. Don't really have a specific reason why, but I guess it just doesn't interest me. Thought I'd point that out because I know if I didn't, there'd be several people in the comments saying you missed the bonfire. Also, this would probably be a good time to point out, since there's going to be an example right up here. I played Dark Souls 2, like the vanilla version, for several hundred hours, maybe even in the thousands, before Scholar of the First Sin came out. And so, since Dark Souls 2 by this point, and especially like the vanilla version, not Scholar of the First Sin, is so old. Some of my memories of the game are from the vanilla version, and some of them are from Scholar of the First Sin. So sometimes I'll like vividly remember an enemy being in a certain spot or an item or a certain mechanic, and it just doesn't exist anymore. And then I kind of lose my sanity at that point. I need you to stop that. So the first example would be in this area right here. I don't remember there being nearly this many hollows on the ground. I know they definitely added some in Scholar of the First Sin, but the challenge in this area used to be there was a Haydnite. Not really sure which way you want me to pronounce that, but used to be sitting up against that tree. And he was totally like optional, they're passive until you hit them. But you had a chance to get his armor, had a chance to get his weapon. And if you're lucky, it could be pretty solid start. Honestly, he reminded me with his like early game placement of the Black Knights in Dark Souls 1. You just have like kind of a random chance at getting some really nice gear if you get a lucky drop. Kind of cool. I don't think I actually need anything from up there. I will take these throwing knives though. Didn't think I was gonna make that jump. So Dark Souls 2, of course, with the life gem system. I joke a lot about how I think this is by far the easiest Dark Souls game, and it's pretty much entirely due to the fact that life gems exist. You can buy them infinitely, up to a stack of 99 for 300 souls apiece, from the very first vendor that you encounter in the game. Like literally in this area. You talk to her, she goes back to Majula, the main hub, basically the equivalent of Firelink Shrine, and you can just hit her up for some life gems whenever you want to. Infinite healing is definitely an advantage, no matter how you look at it. Now, there are some better life gems, and towards the end of the game, it's not like they're going to be healing you for as high a percentage as they are from me right now. But as long as you're taking smart opportunities to heal, just like you should be anyways, not just spamming Estus whenever you get hit, you're pretty much set. They also have this other like really nice factor about them. Like all healing in this game, Estus included, it's not an instant heal like it was in Dark Souls 1. It heals over time, although the Estus heals fairly quickly, I'll admit. Definitely faster than the life gems, but because it's over time, that actually... Oh, I'm out of stamina. Actually has some advantages in some cases. For instance, when you get poisoned in this game, the life gem can actually 100% counteract it. You won't be healing, like you won't be gaining health back, but the health that you're gaining back over time mixed with the health that you're losing over time with the poison, you'll just sit right where your HP was to begin with, so that's like a really helpful mechanic. Alright, have I picked up any Titanite yet? Nope. Plane flying by there, I'm sure you could probably hear that. I was joking about it when I was recording this last night, because obviously it was storming. You could hear a whole bunch of thunder outside. Okay, let's see if I can get this to work on the first try. Gonna throw the firebomb on the hotbar. Oh, I have to. So, if you press your face against the wall and listen, be one with the earth, and throw a firebomb down. Nope, I'm not one with the earth yet. There we go. You can hit these explosive barrels on the other side of the wall. Pretty helpful little mechanic. Honestly, saves you like all of 15 seconds, but you have to deal with a few less enemies, so. And it's like a shortcut. You're meant to open it up from the other side. Usually, that guy up there, he throws firebombs, so usually he'll open up for you as you're running by, just kind of by accident. You'll lose a whole bunch of health, and it's so much fun, as you probably guess. That mechanic right there is honestly probably my favorite thing they added in Dark Souls 2, where guard breaking actually opens the enemy up for a counterattack. Because people who turtle, especially in like PvP, are no fun. Oh, you guys suck. Oh, no stamina. See, I'm having these no stamina issues with the knight. Remember, he has twice as much endurance as the cleric to start out with, so that's why, like, the cleric would be more convenient for setting up a faith build, but man, it's tough with no endurance. Okay, so we're gonna come back through here later because we won the item to unlock something down there. And I suppose I'll show you guys this. So this is how you get the white sign soapstone. You run in here, that gate will close behind you, and an entire army of undead, of hollows I should say, will follow you through here. So you can fight them if you want. I don't really feel like it. I would recommend picking this thing up though. It's a magic version of gold pine resin. So, always nice for that little bit of extra damage on your weapon when you're taking on a boss. And down we go. If you talk to this guy again, or for the first time like me, you don't actually have to talk to him in the first place. Oh, he did follow me. They don't usually do that. Anyways, he'll give you the white sign soapstone for summoning, so if you're looking to co-op, you're basically on your own until that point, and then your buddies can summon at that last bonfire up there. So for this area, there's some guys up there that like to throw fire bombs, and all of these black barrels are explosive, so don't try to squeeze past that way. Right now, stamina again. What we're going to do is pull off the most epic flank of all time. Okay, I'm pretty sure I picked up some bolts for this thing. Hold on. Okay, I'm missing strength, so I can just two-hand it. That'll be all good. Yep, we got 20 wood bolts, so. Whoops. Two hands. Two shots for him. Shots for you. And that's gonna make this next bit a lot easier. Completely botched the plunging attack, but yeah, I've actually died in this area quite a few times because if you don't take those guys out, especially if you don't hit the plunging attack on that guy that take him out earlier, you're in this tiny little room with 3 enemies, so not a whole lot of fun. Now, fortunately I did use both my fire bombs, so if you wanted to, you could throw a firebomb down here and take out all the guys down there. There's only 2 of them. Don't know why I said all of them, but I'm just gonna do it the old-fashioned way. Stamina back. I don't know why I'm not getting that counterattack there. Oh, that item right there, that's another example. I swear to you, that used to be a Titanite shard in the first version of Dark Souls 2. Really disappointing that it's not, honestly. Early game Titanite is the struggle of all struggles, I'm sure that you all are aware. Now, because I don't remember anything about this game, at least the things I do, some of them just don't exist anymore. I'm gonna check this item and see if it's actually some Titanite. These guys basically just test how greedy you are. You want to try to get 2 swings in, you die. Or at least you get hit really hard. Amber, okay, not really worth it. Well, actually, I mean, we're going to be casting later, so... The Amber Herb refills your, not all of them, but some of your casts for pretty much any type of... I say magic, but that includes like sorcery, like real, like the blue magic, and miracles, pyromancy, hexes, everything. Honestly, I should be doing... it's too late for that. Not really, but I should be doing a hex build in this game, just because they're really overpowered, but... It's also like the only game where dark magic is super viable. And when I say viable, I mean like it's so viable that nothing else actually seems viable by comparison. It's so good. But it takes a little while to set up. Basically you have to invest the same amount of stats in intelligence and faith to pull it off. Because those two together dictate how much damage you'll be doing with your dark magic, so... There is like a really tried and true like kind of route that you take and way that you level your character in the early game in order to set up a hex user, but I picked a knight, so that's kind of off the or out of the question at this point. Come on around the corner. Alright, don't hit me with that bow, please. You piece of garbage. This guy's a real sharpshooter. Alright, we're done with this. What? Lost connection. Yeah, so there's 3 archers in that area, so... Not something I really feel like dealing with. Thought if I put the shield on it'd be okay, and then the spear guy immediately went for the shield bash guard break, so... We're just done with that. Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, whoops. Gotta talk to you. This guy has a lot to say, and at the same time, it's like I never hear anyone talk for so long without saying absolutely nothing, you know? But we get the house key, which is what we wanted. And we are almost done grabbing all the stuff in this area that we can get to for now, actually. There are a couple of areas that unlock after you kill the boss, but obviously we can't do that yet. What? Okay, we're fine. Just brought me right back in. That storm actually ruined my internet. Like, no joke. How we've been followed. It didn't work at all last night. after my power went out, and it finally came back online this morning, but it keeps like just kind of turning off randomly, so that's fun. Luckily Dark Souls 2 is, well, it's not required that you play online. It's gonna blow that up. Nice. It hit us both pretty hard, but I've got healing, he doesn't. Oh no, stay away from me. Perfect spacing. Down you go. Alright, so last thing, this guy right here actually. This is why I picked up those throwing knives earlier. Is he still trying to snipe me? Or is that you? I think that's him. Anyways, he's gonna set up here and throw fire bombs. There we go. 2 throwing knives to take care of him. Now this right here, it can get a little messy. See this guy flying over with a giant hawk. It's gonna drop him off. Now this is actually a boss in this area, and it's called the Pursuer, if you didn't know, and he will, as the name suggests, pursue you pretty much constantly throughout the entire game. But if you hop back down, you don't have to fight him right now. It's kind of dumb, but there's actually no advantage to fighting him right here at all. Like later on, you'll fight him in an instance boss room, you know, behind the fog gate and everything, and you know, you get the same amount of souls. He doesn't drop anything. It's cool that you can face him right here, but it's just, I don't know why they didn't give you any reward for doing so. He's not like harder per se in this location. In fact, like, this is like a perfect boss arena, right? Like, he's not that big. It's completely open. There's walls on every side, and if you do fall off over there or over there, like, the fight ends, but you don't die. It's a super short fall, so it's pretty ideal. Grabbing the Estus flask shard right there, that's why we came up here. But in his boss arena, there is actually like a little bonus mechanic that you can utilize. I don't even want to say utilize, I want to say exploit, because it's so good. Okay, those guys are all still dead. I haven't actually rested a bonfire yet, so here's what we're going to do. Last thing, 4,000 souls, pick up the Pharros' Lockstone, and a blacksmith key while we're at it. Last night I actually rested at that bonfire and reset all the enemies, which made this next part just unnecessarily annoying. But we've been playing pretty solid today. I can honestly say the reason for that is that I had a few hours to warm up last night. Like I was saying at the beginning, with that adaptability change, the fact that you don't have the same number of iframes, and like, look, this is the quick roll in this game. See how much more compact it is than in Dark Souls 1? Like, the timing's completely different. Super frustrating. Trapped chests were added in this game too. I kind of like that. It's unfortunate that there aren't as many mimics, but oh well. So we're gonna pop this in right here. I know 4,000 souls is kind of a big investment at this point in the game, but definitely recommend that you do that, because in this chest you get the Chloranthy ring, which increases your stamina recovery, and considering how little we have right now, I will gladly take that. And in here you get the Titanite slab. So obviously the slab we can't use for a very long time, but endgame's super nice to have, because that's what you need to actually upgrade your weapon to the max level. There's a couple more rewards in here behind a locked door. If we try to open it, it does not open from the side, but if you knock on it like that, or ding dong ditch as I like to say, your stupid neighbors will open up the door. You hide around the corner. God, he's taking a long time. They're probably getting stuck on each other. I bet that's what's happening. There he goes. And out you go. Enemies in Dark Souls 2 also have like these really long, drawn out combos, especially the hollows, and they will not stop attacking until they're done with it, which is really annoying, honestly. Kind of teaches you to not be greedy with your attack patterns and everything, but I don't know. Gets on my nerves sometimes. So that's gonna do it. We've pretty much gotten everything we can get. So I'm gonna wrap up this episode here, and I will see you guys in the next one for the bosses. Now, I said at the beginning of this video I'm not gonna be doing a walkthrough, but like I said, and like I have been doing, just kind of commentating as I go, explaining what I'm doing. So if anyone hasn't played this game before, and I guess you're like a fan of how I do my videos and you want to follow along, go ahead. Hopefully everything's making sense to you. I'm gonna be honest though, the bosses in this game, there's some decent ones in the DLC, but I do not really think they're very good. They're pretty one-dimensional, and I don't know, all of them kind of feel the same when you're actually fighting them. And I think part of the reason for that is that most of them aren't like really big monsters. They're like kind of Artorias-esque. That's a terrible example because Artorias is an incredible fight, but they're like almost normal size. They're obviously bigger than you, but they're all like kind of people in some way or another. So it makes their movesets pretty predictable because it's just like fighting a normal enemy a lot of times. And yeah, so there's really not a whole lot to be said about the bosses, which is why I feel like it'd be kind of a waste of time for me to continue my boss guides as I have been doing. But of course, like while I'm in the boss fight, I'll point out anything that I think you should know. And yeah, we'll kind of see what happens. But until next time, guys, thank you for watching. Have a good one.